Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Edwin Skem Shibakale, also known as the Oracle of Teremi. And today, I am going to talk about the Kabras. Who are these people called the Kabras? First and foremost, Kabras is a corruption of Balas, and Balasi means mighty hunters. So the Kabras community was a mighty hunting community. These people were archers. The people who are skilled in hunting are called archers, or the people who practice hunting or the activity of hunting, which is called archery. So the last were economically hunters. And the Balas community composed of around 8 clans. The foremost clan was the Machina, followed by Vasoko, followed by Valu, followed by Vatobo, then Vachimalia, then Vamutama, Vasila, Vashivika, and Vamusaka. These were the clans that came together during their meeting and interaction at Shiombe village, currently in present-day Navaholo sub-county of Kakamega County. And when they came together, united under one economic activity of archery, they were later called together as Balas. They were skilled in hunting down jungles all the way from Kakamega bushes into Uasin Gishu. So during this hunting expedition, they killed huge jungles such as elephants, lions, rhinos, buffaloes, etc. And since ivory was a precious commodity during that time, the Balasi community always had trading partners such as the Wanga and the Arabs, who used to buy their ivory through a barter system. Now, how did the name Kabras replace Balas? This is how it happened. Now, during this hunting expedition, the people who referred to Balasi as Kabras were the Nandi and the Maasai. So the Nandi most specifically uses their names with a prefix Ka, meaning the people of, or referring to the land of. So if they want to refer to this land as the land belonging to the people of Matsaha, they will say Kamatsaha. If they want to refer to the people who reside or live in Matsaha, they will say this one is a Kamatsaha. So the Nandi and the Maasai are the ones who used to call the Valasi villages and people as Kabras. And in 1883, Joseph Thompson, a Scottish, and his friend James Martin were mandated by the Royal Geographical Society of Great Britain to find a way from the East African coast through Maasai land to Mumia's capital of Wanga, then to Lake Victoria for commercial reasons. Before Thompson and his colleague Martin were tasked to find that path, the earlier Europeans and Arabs who used to come to the interior of East Africa used to go through the heart of Tanzania. Then from Tanzania, they will come through western Uganda to Kampala. Then from Kampala, they will come to Mumias to get ivory and slaves. Now, these early visitors who used to come to the interior of East Africa feared to go through the heart of present-day Kenya because stories had been told that the Maasai were treacherous, they were very lethal, and could not entertain any visitor to pass through their land. So, no Arab or European of that time ever dared to pass through the heart of the Maasai. Now, time reached because the route through Tanzania was long and tiresome. So the British decided to give a prize to any explorer who will take risk and find that path through the heart of Kenya, which they believed it was a shortcut to Lake Victoria, the source of River Nile. You must also realize that Britain had colonized Egypt and Sudan. So it believed that if another European power would colonize the land where it was the source of the Nile, then that European power could automatically divert the waters of the Nile to the Indian Ocean or to the Atlantic Ocean. So they found it fit to spiritedly find a shortcut to that source for purposes of establishing their commercial empire and their political or colonial empire to this region. So Martin accepted the challenge, Martin and his colleague Joseph Thompson. So the leader of that exploration or that expedition through Maasai land to Lake Victoria was Joseph Thompson. So Thompson, from the East African coast, he was accompanied by the Swahili porters. We included some of the Maasai who are well versed with the Swahili and the languages of the interior. One of them was Maktu. So when Thompson reached Maasai region and Nandi region, he received first-hand information that a village on Surungai was occupied by the Kabras. So it was the Nandi who used to call Valasi as Kabras, as I had explained earlier. So when they told John Thompson that the village on the Surungai Hill is occupied by the people known as the Kabras, Thompson wrote it down as Kabras instead of Kablas. Now, on 28th of November 1883, finally Thompson entered Kabras village, and that village was occupied by the clans that I had stated earlier. Although the pioneer leader of the Valasi clans was Shiwuma Mondo Omachina, by the time Joseph Thompson entered Kabras village on 28th of November 1883, Mse Selavani of Valu clan had succeeded Shiwuma. He was also the son to Shiwuma's sister. So Mse was a nephew to Shiwuma. So he had succeeded his uncle when Thompson appeared on the scene at Surungai. That is how Valas graduated into Kablas, then thereafter Kabras. Now Thompson slept in the Kabras or Kablas or Valasi village for one day. And when you read his book, Through Masai Land, Thompson explains or describes how wealthy in terms of natural abundance and food Kablas, Valas or Kabras was. He said on entering the Kabras village, he was in the midst of abundance. There was milk in plenty, there was cereals, there was potatoes, there was groundnuts, each and every type of food. So his hunger, the hunger that was afflicting him with his entourage that had arrived at Kabras, ended. The natural endowment that Thompson witnessed at Kabras was different from what he had seen in the earlier or previous areas of Maasai and Nandi. And thereafter, Thompson was given guides by Moses Sullivan to accompany him to Mumias, to the village of Mumia, the king of Wanga. And on his way, he passed along the village of the Nambo clans, led by Omshu by the name Lumbasi, son of Chetera, grandson of Haisie. And the Nambo clans that used to reside in that Muinaya village near Shiruku was Bashu, Basamo, Batsara, Basumra, Bachuna, Bachumba, and many other clans that belong to that cluster of the Nambo clan. So Thompson proceeded with his journey through the Bunyala forest, then along the village of Wanga Mukulu, then led by Sakwa, son of Kweyu. From Wanga Mukulu villages, he entered now the village of Mumia's father, Muilala, at present-day Ekero. And at that time, Mumia's father, Shiundu, had died, and Mumia had succeeded him, and he was fully discharging his duties as the Nabongo of the mighty kingdom of Wanga. So Thompson spent a night at Mumia's village. Thereafter, the following day in the morning, he proceeded with his journey to Lake Victoria and reached Seaport and Port Victoria, from where he continued with his exploration mission before returning to London thereafter. So, in brief, this is how the name Kabras came about. And after the colonialists had established their autonomy or their authority over the lands that forms the present-day Kenya, the name Kabras would be used by them to refer to the vast land all the way from Surungai to Mayuche, to Okumu areas, to Nambalai areas and Mahuhuni areas, up to Mayo areas. So all this land was referred to as Kabras sub-district. So the name of Valasi, the name of the Kablas, the name of the Kabras would then swallow the other communities that were living within this radius that I have mentioned. Thank you for following me. Thank you for listening to me. In brief, that is a summary of a story or a history of these people called the Kabras. Viva!